I'm Dr. M. Jasmine, working as an associate professor in the Department of ECE, Bharat Institute of Higher Education and Research. In the course Microcontroller, now I'm going to discuss about the instruction set of 8051. The topics covered will be first, the classification of instruction set of 8051. Then in that, first we'll see the data transfer instruction, in which the topics covered are instruction to access external data memory, external ROM or program memory, and data transfer with stack, and also data exchange instructions. Then we'll move on to arithmetic instructions and bit and byte level logical instructions. After that, we'll discuss about rotate and swap instructions, and also jump instructions, conditional and unconditional jump instructions, and finally the call instructions. First, let us define what is an instruction. For doing any operation in a processor, for each and every single operation, an instruction is needed, and this instruction is defined by an instruction set architecture. So depending upon the types of operation, the instruction set of 8051 is classified into data transfer, byte and bit level logical, arithmetic, rotate, swap, and jump and call instructions. First, we look into data transfer instructions. Basically, these instructions are used when we want to move the content of the data from one location to the another location. So, the addressing modes involved in it will be an immediate, register direct, or register indirect addressing, and we'll be using the word MOV for this data transfer instructions. The general format for this is MOV destination, source. So from the source, the data is moved into the destination location. So example for the data transfer instruction is that first one, move A, Rn, in which the data from the register is moved to the accumulator. The second one, move A, direct, meaning the content from the memory location. So direct here we mean the memory location. So the content from that memory location will be moved to the accumulator. And next one, move A at Ri, meaning like in the register the memory location will be stored, and the data from that particular memory location, that is the indirect addressing, is moved to the accumulator. The reverse case is also possible. That is, we can move the data from the accumulator to the register, or from the memory location to the accumulator, as well as from accumulator to the memory location. And the data you can mention directly in the instruction also. That is, move R6, hash 13, in which the data which is 13H is moved to the register R6. So in data transfer, we'll see the different types, that is how the instruction can be accessed from data memory or program memory, or if it is involved with the stack. Okay. So the first one is that the instruction to access external data memory. So when we want to access from external data memory, the instruction used is move X. And first one is that move X A at Ri. That is, the content of the external address will be in Ri, right? So that from that address, the content will be moved to the accumulator. And next thing is that move XA at DPTR. the content from the data pointer register. So it will be data pointer register will hold the 16-bit address. So from that the data will be moved to the accumulator. The reverse thing is also possible, that is move x at dptr comma a. So all the external data moves with your external RAM. In this the accumulator is involved. And also when we are accessing the external RAM, the general purpose registers can address 256 bytes, and regarding the data pointer register, it can address 64 kilobytes. So MOVX instruction is used to access external RAM or input-output addresses. So next we move on to the instructions to access external ROM or program memory. Program is also called as code. So here in the instruction C is involved. So when we want to access external ROM or program memory, the instruction used is move C. So the first one, move C A comma at A plus dptr. So initially the physical address will be generated. So how to calculate the physical address means the content of A will be added with the dptr, and then from that location the data will be moved to the accumulator. So that is the meaning of this. And the next one is that move C A comma at A plus PC. And in this case the physical address is calculated by adding the content of the accumulator and that of the program counter. So when we are using this program counter to access the program memory, we have to increment it to 1. So before doing this adding process, that is before adding the content of the accumulator with the content of the program counter, we have to increment the program counter and then do the addition. Then from the generated physical address, the content is copied and then it is moved on to the accumulator. And in this case also, when we are accessing external ROM, accumulator is involved. And regarding this move C instruction, when it is used with internal or external ROM, it can address 4 kilobyte of internal code or 64 kilobit of external code. And one more point to be noted here is that the dptr and the program counter are not changed. That is only the content is moved to the accumulator, whereas the content of the dptr and the program counter are not changed. And next is the data transfer with stack memory. So when we want to involve some operations with regard to stack, the basic instruction used is push and pop instruction. So first one is that when we want to push, that is store some value in the stack. So for that, what we have to do, the stack pointer, after moving the content, the stack pointer will be incremented by 1. That is, this instruction increments the stack pointer by 1 and then it stores the content. For example, push B, that is the value of the B register has to be moved to stack. So while we are performing this, the stack pointer will be incremented by 1 and then that value will be stored into the value of B register will be stored in that particular location. And next one is pop. Pop means to get the data from the stack. So when we are doing this, the stack pointer will be decremented by 1. So for example, if the stack pointer corresponds to the address FF, and if you are using the push instruction, the stack pointer rolls to next value, that is ff plus 1, which is nothing but 0 0. The same case, when we are using the pop instruction, it will be decremented by 1, so ff becomes fe. So next is that, so suppose for example, let us assume that the end address of the RAM is 7f. So when you are using the push instruction after this, it will result an error. Why? Because 7f is the end address. When we are using the push instruction, we have to increment by 1, which is not possible in this case. And regarding the stack pointer, generally its address will be above the register banks. In 8051, we have 4 register banks. Each register bank will have 8 registers. So the stack pointer address is set above the register banks. And also we'll be using the push and pop instructions for the registers from these register banks. And when we are using these registers, we should not mention their name, because simply if we mention as R0 to R7, we don't know from which register bank it belongs to. So we should not use the register name from register bank, since the register name does not specify the bank in use. So this is the thing related to the stack operation. So stack means push and pop, and when push is used, pop is also will be used in that particular program. When we are pushing the data, the stack pointer will be incremented, and when we are popping the data, the stack pointer will be decremented. And next thing is that data exchange instructions. So here the data from the source will be moved to the destination, and from the destination it will be moved to source. So that is the thing. Example for this is exchange XCHA comma RN. So in which the data from that particular register, so RN is the general, we can the number can be from 0 to 7. So the data from the register is moved to that accumulator, and the data from the accumulator is moved to the register. Just the exchange operation is happening. And here also it can be of your immediate, direct, or register indirect addressing mode. Here again, all the exchange instructions involve the accumulator. And one more thing we have in this exchange instruction, that is exchange digit. So for that, the instruction used is XCHD. So when we are using this exchange digit, here we are exchanging the content of the lower nibble only. That is 4 bits will form a nibble. So in 8-bit data, D0 to D3 will form the lower nibble, and D4 to D7 will form the upper nibble. So the upper nibble is not changed. Only the lower nibble gets interchanged. And here in this exchange instruction, the point to be noted is that immediate addressing modes, that is directly we cannot mention the data in the instruction. So immediate addressing mode is not used in the data exchange instructions. So next we'll move on to the arithmetic. So arithmetic, the basic arithmetic operation, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and incrementing and decrementing. So the addition operation, example, add a comma rn. So here what the operation will be done is that the content of the register will be added with the accumulator, and the result will be stored in the accumulator. So we are going to add two datas. The data may be in a accumulator or in the register or in the memory location. So based on that, we have the different forms. And one more thing is that we can add the carry also with the two datas. For that, we have the instruction ADDC. For example, ADDCA comma hash data. So in this instruction, the data will be mentioning in the instruction directly, and that data will be added with the accumulator data. Along with that, the carry. So from the flag or will be in the initial of the program itself, we can note the carry value, and that carry value is also added. So here this particular instruction, what will happen is that A plus data plus carry, then the result will be stored in the accumulator. So this is the addition operation. And next is the subtraction. Same way here we can subtract the two datas along with the carry. So carry here we are indicating by the term borrow. Okay. So first example is that SUBB A comma SRC byte, that is one data. So here what happens is that it subtract the indicated variable and the carry flag together from the accumulator, and the result will be stored in the accumulator. And the next instruction SUBBA comma RN. So here the thing happens is that the register value, the value stored in the register along with the borrow will be subtracted from the accumulator, and the result will be stored in the accumulator. And we can also mention the data directly in the instruction. So the third one is of that category, SUBBA comma hash data. So that immediate data will be subtracted from the accumulator with borrow. Then we have multiplication and division operation also in 8051. For that, the instruction used is MULAB or DIVAB. This is the basic arithmetic operation. And one more thing we have is the DAA, which stands for decimal adjust of the accumulator for addition. Decimal adjust of the accumulator for addition. So when we'll be using this particular instruction means when the operations involved BCD addition, that is binary coded decimal addition. So in BCD, the allowed digits is only from 0 to 9. So when we are adding the two datas, if the lower nibble exceeds 9, you have to add 6 to it. The same case is applied for the upper nibble also. When we are adding the two datas in the upper nibble, if that result exceeds 9, again we have to add 6 to it. That is the adjustment of the BCD addition, so that the result, the final result will be a packed BCD. So for that, for to do that correction, we'll be using this decimal adjust accumulator for addition. So this is the thing about the arithmetic. And next one related to the arithmetic is the incrementing and decrementing. That is, we can increment the data in the accumulator or register or the memory location. So for that we'll be using INC operation. Similarly, to decrement the data, we'll be using decrement operation. The same way we can decrement the data from the accumulator, register or from the memory locations. And when we are doing these operations, it doesn't affect the carry flag, auxiliary carry flag and overflow flag. Only the content will be either incremented or decremented. So next we move on to the logical instructions. So we know the basic logical operations AND, OR, XOR. So here AND logic. So when I tell ANL, it stands for AND logic. So here we'll be giving the two datas which is mentioned as destination byte and source byte. So for each bit by bit, the logical AND operation will be carried out. For AND logic, result will be 1 only if two values are high. So here the thing happens, that is when bit by bit the AND operation will be carried out and the result will be stored in the accumulator. And here no flags are affected. The same thing when we do the OR operation, it is your ORL, OR logic. And here again result will be stored in the accumulator and no flags are affected. XOR, when we are doing the XOR operation of each and every bit. So in XOR logic, it will produce the result as 1 if two bits are not equal. That is, for XOR of 1 0 or 0 1 will give rise to the result as 1, whereas XOR of 0 0 and 1 1 will give the result as 0. So that is your XORL. And next is the clear A. That is, when we want to clear the content of the accumulator, we will be using clear A. And here again no flags are affected. And if you want to complement the content, meaning if you want to change the 1 to 0 and 0 to 1, we will be using CPLA. So here each bit of the accumulator is logically complemented, and here again no flags are affected. And in logical operation, the next type is your bit level operations. That is, each bit, for the bit you can do some operations. So that type and all will come under the category of bit level operation. So if you want to clear the carry flag, CLR C. Clear any particular bit, make it as 0. So we'll be using the instruction CLR bit. And if you want to set the carry flag, we'll be using SCTB setBC. That is the particular bit, carry bit, we are going to set it as 1. And not only carry, any particular bit, if you want to set it as 1, you can do it by using the command SCTB bit. And if you want to complement the carry flag, we'll be using CPLC. And same thing, complement that bit, we can use CPL bit. And similarly, the AND logic or OR logic of any particular bit only you have to do, that is also possible. And next is the rotate instructions. So if you want to shift the data, it is possible. Shifting the data either towards the right or towards the left, it's possible. And in both directions, in right directions or left directions, you can shift the data without involving the carry and with involving the carry. So the first instruction is RR, rotate right accumulator. That is, the content of the accumulator will be moving towards the right. The content of the accumulator will be moving towards the right. That is, first we have to start from MSB. From MSB, the bit will be shifted one position to the right, and now the MSB will be vacant. So the LSB will be moved to MSB. So in bit position, I can say D7 is moved to D6, D6 is moved to D5, D5 to D4, like this, and finally D1 to D0, and D0 value is moved to D7. With a number, we can have an idea, clear idea about this. For example, if you have the instruction move A, comma, hash 65H, then the accumulator will have the content 65. I am writing it in the binary value. So I will write it as 01100101. So the first rotate RRA. So the accumulator content, now we are going to move it towards the right. So as I told, MSB. Okay. So MSB position will be occupied by the LSB. So 1 will come here. Then shift each and every digit to the right. So it becomes 1, 0 double 1, then 0 0 1 0. Then again I am doing the rotate right operation, means again LSB will be moved to MSB. So MSB will now take the value as 0, then shift each and every bit towards the right. So the value becomes 0 1 0 1 1 0 0 1. So this is the thing. So in the same operation, if we have the carry involved in it, then the instruction used is RRCA. So for that, we can see here. So what is the thing done here is that the carry value will be first moved to D7 MSB, and then the bits will be shifted out, and now LSB will be moved to carry. So carry will be moved to D7, D7 to D6, D6 to D5, and then D1 to D0, and finally D0 to carry. So this also we can see one example. The first instruction is that set BC. That is, we have to set the carry. So carry is equal to 1. So the next instruction is MOV A comma hash 65H. So A is equal to 0110 0101. Then the first instruction is RRCA. So what will happen? Carry will be moved to D7. So D7, MSB will have the value as 1. Then move it accordingly towards the right position. So you'll have this as 1011 0010, and carry will take the value from LSB. Here the LSB value is 1. So carry will now again be 1. Again, if we do this rotate right operation, in this case, first just carry will be moved to the MSB. So MSB will take 1. Then the positions will be 101, then 1001. So now for carry we have to move the LSB value. So here the LSB value is nothing but 0. So carry will have the value as 0. The same thing only is repeated again. So this is the rotate instruction with respect to right. So now rotate towards your left. So here the starting position will be from LSB, just the reverse of the first case what we have discussed now. So here a bit D0 will be moved to D1, D1 to D2, D2 to D3 likewise, and finally D7 will be moved to D0. So with an example we can see, for example, initially we are taking the value as 1001 and then 1100. So here what happens, first starting from the LSB you just move the position. So LSB will be vacant, right? So 0011 100, and this MSB will be moved to LSB. So LSB will have the value as 1. So for the same rotate instruction, you can involve the carry flag also. The instruction for that is RLC. The same case, starting from the LSB, it will be shifted towards the left, and the carry value will be moved to the LSB. So accordingly, we have like 1001, 1100, and carry value, let us assume that it is going to be 0. So now start from LSB. So initially what, this carry will be moved to LSB. So LSB will take 0. Then you move each and every thing towards the left. So you'll have this as 001 1100. And for carry now, the MSB will be moved to carry. So carry will have the value as 1. So rotate right means we have to shift the bit towards right. We have to move the bit towards right. Left means towards left. If it involves carry, carry is also included in your rotation operation. Basically, where we'll be using this kind of rotate instruction and all, for multiplication and division operations, as well as when we want to transfer the data serially. For serial data transfer, we'll be using this rotate instruction. And next is the swap instruction. So swapping means like we can swap the upper nibble with the lower nibble. And this particular instruction also deals only with the accumulator. So here we can see in the figure we can see like this: D0, D1, D2, D3, which is the lower nibble, D4, D5, D6, D7, which is the upper nibble. So after swap, here D0, D1, D2, D3 will be moved to this content D7, D6, D5, D4, and the content of D7, D6, D5 and D4 will be moved to D3, D2, D1, D0. So with a numerical example, I can say move A comma 65H. So this is the value for 65, binary representation of 65. So first this lower nibble will be moved here. So the upper nibble now will contain 0101 and lower nibble will now contain the upper nibble value, that is 0110. Just we are swapping the lower nibble content and the upper nibble content. So this is the swap instruction. And next category is the jump instruction. So in the jump instruction, we'll have both conditional jump as well as unconditional jump. So conditional jump means we have to check for the particular condition. If it is true, the program will be moved to that particular location addressed in the instruction or addressed in that program. Otherwise, it will move on to the next step. So we have to check for the condition and then we have to transfer the program flow from one location to the another location. So here jump 0. What is the thing we have to see? We have to check out the carry flag, 0 flag. That is after the particular operation, we have to check out the 0 flag. If the resultant operation is going to be 0, then we'll move on to that particular location. That is jump if accumulator is equal to 0. You can check out the flag also the content. Then jump on no 0, that is if the accumulator value is not 0, then we have to move on to that particular location. The meaning of this is DJNZ means decrement and then jump if no 0 value is obtained. Then CJNE A comma data. Compare and jump on not equal. That is, we'll be comparing the data of A and the data mentioned in the instruction. If the two data are not equal, then we'll be moving on to the another location. And compare, jump on not equal, register and data. So when we are comparing the data, it may be in a register, accumulator or in the memory location. So based upon that, CJNE itself will have different types. And jump on carry. So if carry is set, you have to jump to the another location. Jump on no carry. If carry is not set, then we have to move to the particular location. Jump JB means jump if the bit is equal to 1. And JNB means jump if bit is equal to 0. JBC means jump if bit is equal to 1. That is the meaning of it, and clear the bit. So that explanation only is described over here. So what we have seen, jump on 0, no 0 and jump on no carry. And jump on carry and jump on no bit, that is jump if bit is low. And in this particular instruction, here the address of the target must be within -128 to +127 bytes of the contents of the program counter. So next is the unconditional. So here we are not going to check for any particular condition, like the previous case, checking the condition of a carry, 0 or equality condition. You are not going to do anything like that. Only we have two operations, two instructions in this. One is long jump, another one is the short jump. So first one, long jump, means here we have 3 byte instruction. That is, first one is for the opcode, and next to 2 bytes it represents the 16-bit data. So first one is for opcode and next 2 bytes for the 16-bit data. And as the data, 16-bit address, and as the address is of 16-bit, here the memory location will be from 00000 to FFFH. Then short jump. The difference between the short jump and long jump is that long jump is of 3 byte instruction, whereas short jump is of only 2 byte instructions. So opcode and 8-bit address. So 8-bit means the address range will be from 00 to FF. So here when we take it as forward and backward jumps, it is within -128 to +127 with respect to the program counter. So when we consider the forward jump, the target address can be within a space of 127 bytes from the current program counter, and in the backward jump it can be of -128 bytes from the current program counter. And next one is going to be the call instructions. So when we'll be using this call instructions means, so normally if particular task is going to be repeated again and again in the program, the usual procedure is that we'll define those type of tasks as a subroutine. So using the subroutine is like a structured way of programming, and it also saves the memory space. So when we want to refer to that subroutine, we'll be using this call instruction. So in this call, we have two types. One is the long call, another one is going to be the absolute call. And regarding the long call, it's again going to be a 3 byte instruction. So 1 byte for the opcode and remaining 2 bytes for the 16-bit address. And here it can be used to call subroutines which are available within the 64 kilobyte address space of the 8051. So generally when we are using the call instruction, we have to save the address. Then so that after completion of the subroutine, it is easier to come to the main program. And so to come to the main program, when we have the call instruction, the return instruction is also needed. So only this return instruction will transfer the control back to the main program. It is easier to move to the main program after the completion of the subroutine. And next is the absolute call. So absolute call is again going to be a 2 byte instruction. And here, as it is a 2 byte instruction, 1 byte for opcode and another one is for the 8-bit address. So here the target address is within 2 kilobytes. And the difference between the absolute call and long call is that the target address for long call can be anywhere within the 64 kilobyte address space, while the target address of absolute call is within a 2 kilobyte range. So we have discussed about the all type of instructions involved in 8051, the data transfer, arithmetic, logical, jump and call instruction. Thank you.